You have activated the podcast from the Psychon Network.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome to the Retrograde podcast, the show where we make retro games honourably discharge themselves. My name's Jack Marshall, and I'm joined today by Anthony Hobday.
Hello.
Lysanne Fisher.
Hello.
And James MacFadyen.
Hi.
In today's show, we're going to be discussing the arcade title Metal Slug. But before we do, let's have a brief blurb on the game from our private joker himself, chief editor at Psychon.org, Brecky K. Thompson.
Metal Slug is a run-and-gun platform video game for the Neo Geo console and arcade platform. It was developed by the Nazca Corporation and published by SNK. It was originally released in 1996 for the MVS arcade platform and went on to see many ports including the Neo Geo, PlayStation, Neo Geo Pocket, and Game Boy Advance. The game is widely known for its sense of humor, fluid hand-drawn animation, and fast-paced two-player action. It's the first title in the successful Metal Slug series and remains a cult classic among gamers.
Cheers, Brecky. Right, we're back.
Woo! Back once again with the Retrograde Masters.
Back once again with the Retrograde Masters. I'm good at doing that. I actually haven't seen you guys for 2 weeks, although we've been talking for the last 20 minutes before the show anyway. But yeah, I haven't seen you guys. So anyone got anything interesting? Let's start with James this week. What have you been up to, dude?
Why do we have to start?
Because we always
me?
do you last.
But we always start me last, exactly. So I have more time to prepare and try and dredge up.
Let's go with Anthony first then.
Things about my life.
I don't have anything I want to say. Oh, no, wait, okay. I went to Thanksgiving, which was quite interesting.
Yep.
Had a big meal, and then I had to go to a party directly afterwards where there was food. So that was a big day for eating. This was Saturday.
Was it awkward when you arrived and you had to eat more food, but you knew you were too full?
It was salmon, so it's quite light food. And I didn't eat loads and loads at Thanksgiving, so I was kind of prepared. But what happened at the party is they cleared the tables after dinner, dance floor set up, the DJ started playing. I wanted to dance because, as you all know, I love dancing. And if you didn't, you now do.
This is true. He does. He has some good shapes.
Supple.
I love the dancing.
Supple.
No one was on the dance floor because it was mostly older people, right?
Wait. Was this Christmas party with the elderly people you volunteered with?
No. This was my aunt's birthday party thrown from my uncle. So it was a lot of people that I knew and some people I didn't. But they cleared the floor. I went out there on my own on the dance floor and danced just...
Can we have... What song?
Did you dance like no one was watching?
What song was it? That's kind of the important
thing. I think it was about 3 different songs I was dancing for before people took pity on me and the dance floor instantly filled up. But it had the intended effect.
I was going to ask what you were thankful for.
Oh, Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
The ability to dance.
I was once at a disco. It was rubbish, but it was there was like a DJ box.
Oh, you've only been to one disco.
Yeah, no one danced with me. There was a DJ box, and we started playing a game. This is how bored me and my mates were of who could put on the song that would get the most people up and dancing. Do you know what song won? Jitterbug by Wham. The moment they went Jitterbug, everyone just got up. It was like it was like zombies just going mental. I won. I picked Jitterbug as well.
I'll keep that in mind so that when I need to pick a song that gets people on the dance floor.
I forgot how much you love George Michael.
I do love a bit of George Michael.
Wasn't that back in like the 70s though? Surely they'd have more contemporary tastes. Right
80s.
Are you saying that Jack did that back in the 70s? Yeah. I think you're misunderstanding his age.
I don't know. Old is his age.
Driving around in the 70s is great fun. Zan, what have you been up to? Anything interesting?
Not a huge amount of stuff.
Been playing anything?
Games-wise, I've restarted playing Phantom Hourglass in preparation for my game choice next week. But I'm not going to spoil that just now.
Oh, yeah, we'll say at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Well,
what have you been playing non-game?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
You might have meant derby. Oh, I did go see my first roller derby match.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we sat in the suicide seats.
What
They're called, which is when you sit cross-legged on the floor right next to the track where they're skating around.
I thought it was when you get so bored you want to kill yourself.
Oh, Jack Marshall, everybody.
That was harsh. That was
but then every seat would be a suicide seat, Jack.
I hate you, Jack. I hate you.
Can I come along to a roller derby? I'm being serious.
And play?
Don't let him.
You're not allowed to play. You can watch, yeah.
Yeah, I want to watch. Yeah, I'm not going to play.
Don't let him speak carrots and calling it derby.
Is this some kind... so suicide seats, that suggests... is it a violent event?
Yes.
Yeah.
Violence?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's one of the main points of the game.
The whole point of the game is
on wheels.
No, because you're not allowed to punch each other.
It's to stop one person getting around the ring. That's what they've got to do.
Yeah,
They're trying to do laps, and you've just got to stop them.
Them getting past.
Can you bring piano wire and stuff?
No.
Just body force?
Yeah. And there's rules about touching.
There are always rules about touching.
Exactly. Yeah, and that was awesome. So that was really cool. Saw a play on Wednesday. That was amazing.
Is it Olympic?
It's called Beautiful
sport?
Burnout. That was about boxing.
Oh, cool.
It's not an Olympic sport, no.
No, not yet.
Yeah, it was about boxing, which was cool, and it was a physical theatre piece, so it was epic. It was amazing. Yeah, that's about all I've been up to.
Okay. And James, what about you?
I've been playing. I've got a few exams coming up for uni, so I've been playing a lot of music recently. Sorry, that was just really distracting. Am I loud enough?
Huh? Yeah, no, you're fine.
Good.
Yeah, you're fine. No, I'm just
Excellent.
looking at the laptop screen. You were boring me, so
that
I thought
boring?
I'd rather look at your voice on screen than in person.
Oh, wow, those lines up and down.
Yeah,
up
the
and
lines
down.
go up and down. I shouldn't let you guys see the screen. You're seeing how it's like seeing behind the wizard's curtain. It's like you shouldn't be looking.
Yeah.
But,
back to me.
back to you, James.
I started playing Borderlands 2 recently as well, which is actually it's actually much better than I thought it would be, because the combat is just essentially improved all around from the first game, which I didn't really have many complaints with. And stop making those noises. And the dialogue.
Sorry, we'll get him back later.
The dialogue's excellent. I mean, it's really well written. I think Ash. No, not Ash. The guy from Hey Ash, What You Playing? You know?
I don't know his name. Her name's
Pokemon?
Ash.
No, her name's
name's
Ash. His
Ashley.
name's like something Birch.
I can't remember. To
Anyway,
be honest. Is he one of the voices though? Is he?
No, he's one of the writers for
okay.
Borderlands 2. He used to write for Destructoid, so it's
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
I thought Borderlands 2 was basically exactly the game that Borderlands 1 should have been. Like, people, Eurogamer gave it like 9 out of 10 and give it all this good stuff. But I just didn't. I thought it was really, really good, but I kind of went, I don't see how it's a massive improvement for Borderlands 1.
But then for a sequel to
Yeah, we're going to have to stop because you two are laughing about something. Anthony, what do you want to say? Is it because you hate Borderlands 2?
He's
For
not
people who
saying
can't
anything.
see, Anthony's just here putting funny faces.
He's pulling ridiculously faces. Like every tiny little thing they say, he's pulling faces like, "Oh God, I can't believe."
We're trying to have a grown-up conversation.
It's
We've got
really
Anthony got like a
funny.
spoiled child going, oh, Borderlands 2, these guys are so stupid. What do you want to say, Anthony? Go on, bring it.
No, I've just got preconceived notions about Borderlands.
Oh, so you've not even played it yet?
No, I played Borderlands 1.
You're a game racist.
Oh, you played Borderlands 1. Oh, okay, you played Borderlands 1. I see. Did you, you hated Borderlands 1. I forgot
a game
this.
racist?
Game
Is that a
racist.
gaycist?
Yes.
Good.
You hated Borderlands 1. I remember this now. Maybe you saying this before. You really didn't like
Did you
it.
hate it because it was fun?
Did you hate it because it had a storyline? Did it have a storyline? Actually, I haven't played it.
Yeah.
Did you hate it because you meant to play it with friends?
Oh,
Pretty much.
Jack Marshall, everybody.
No, the ironic thing is, I would have hated Left 4 Dead 2 for the same reason Left 4 Dead 1. Because if I didn't have anyone to play it with. But Borderlands 1 is so boring. So
Hold on. I mean, before we jump in the game we're doing today as well, you say you love fun being thrown at your face. Borderlands 2
No, fun being blasted all over his face.
Borderlands and Borderlands 2 are very colourful, crazy shooting, everything going nuts.
Did you not wonder what all that stuff on my face was?
Surely you would like... I would have thought you'd like Borderlands.
Maybe if I'd bought it when it came out and played it with 3 people regularly, but it doesn't...
I agree with you, actually. Playing it on my own, I would probably get really bored. I'll be honest.
It's not the same as Left 4 Dead 2 and 1 in the sense that it's more like Diablo, where you can play it solo, and you don't have like distinct gaming sessions where it's like, let's just do this campaign. It's a continual quest-based system. So you're more likely to play it alone. And so finding people that are at the same level is quite hard. So unlike Diablo, you can't play it alone because it's just horrifically boring.
Don't play Dead
How
Island.
is it any less boring than Diablo is alone?
I really enjoyed Diablo alone.
How is that possible?
I know I just played Torchlight 2 all the way through alone.
What? Wait, what? What?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I don't... There's like a breakdown in communication here because I can't comprehend how you could enjoy Diablo alone but not Borderlands 2. But that's perhaps...
I feel the
discussion
opposite,
for
so...
another day, so...
Jack, what have you been up to?
Yeah, Jack.
I've not been up to much. I'm moving back into my new place on Saturday, so I can't freaking wait, because that's going to be awesome.
Coming back to Brighton.
Yeah, I'm going to be back home. Well, not really home, but back to that place where people are. But one thing did happen today, we should talk about kind of news. You guys seen the Wii Mini?
Yeah.
Have you seen this, James?
I
You looking at
heard
it?
news about it, but I wasn't really interested.
Nintendo released today. Apparently, it's only going to be on sale in Canada, which is a bit strange. But it's a tiny little Wii, about the size. Basically, imagine a CD and put a block around it, and that's basically the Wii Mini.
You mean like a CD case?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right,
It's
okay.
a bit
What is
thicker.
the purpose?
Sell
You
them.
tell me. They're
Cost
releasing it
$100.
What was the point of the iPad Mini?
December 7th. Like, that is, it's coming out in a week's time already. You can pre-order it for $100, so like 60 quid. very confusing. But again, they did the same thing in the Game Boy Micro when the DS came out. So, maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe they're hoping parents who can't get a Wii U will go, but I got you a Wii Mini, and the kid will go, Mum, I didn't want a Wii Mini.
That's also kind of the Nintendo business model, isn't it? Just release a console and then like a couple of years later make it small.
The Micro was only out
PlayStation do that.
Yeah, but I'd say Nintendo have a more sort of uniform policy of doing that because they do it with every single handheld and whatever.
The Micro was only on sale for about 6 months. I've got one. It's over in my bag actually because I was playing Link. I've been getting ready for the next game for the show next 2 weeks' time.
Definitely given it away.
I've given it away a little bit too much, but anyway. But apart from that, what have I been playing? Oh, I tell you what, I did actually start playing. Sonic Races Transformed. Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best karting games I've ever played. Brilliant.
What?
Yep, it's on the 360, it's on the Wii, it's on the PS3, it's on the Wii U. It's brilliant.
Is it a new release?
It's a new release. Came out about 2 weeks ago from Team Sumo. It's brilliant. It's better than Mario Kart 7. Better than the recent Mario Kart.
Tell me about this transformed concept. What's that about?
It's like the idea what Mario Kart 7 did, where you can transform into a boat or a plane, but it happens only at specific parts of the level. When you go through a ring, you turn into that vehicle. And it's not bad, actually. It works really well. The boat, as always with any of their games, like Diddy Kong Racing, the boats one's always the ones that are rubbish for some reason. No one likes boats. But it works really well. It's really good. And they've got the levels. The levels are beautiful to the point where when they showed the producer of what was the game with all the famous RPG with all the flying boats, Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah.
When they showed the producer of that game the level of Skies of Arcadia.
Sorry, Jack. I just looked up to see Anthony stroking James's beard.
James has got a pretty thick beard at the moment. He's doing Movember.
No, I'm just stylish.
And outside when Andy decided to stroke it while I was talking. But they showed the producer of Skies. They showed the producer of Skies of Arcadia the level, and he burst into tears. He found it so emotional.
Oh.
Anyway, that's what I've been up to. So,
it's really furry.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Metal Slug. Yay!
Metal Slug!
Anthony chose this because Anthony, I think we can agree this is probably one of the biggest games ever for blasting fun in your face, which is what you love in your games.
Blasting happy in my face.
Blasting happy in your face, which is what you said about Gunstar Heroes. And I remember when you said that, I did think, I bet Anthony loves Metal Slug. So do you want to talk, apart from that, do you want to talk a little bit about why you chose Metal Slug? Have you got a history of the game?
Yeah, I first played this on an arcade machine in France. We used to go to a...
How old were you?
Probably about between 11 and 15. I'm not sure.
Nice and vague.
I think you say between 11 and 12. Carry on, go on.
I'd say 11 and a half or so. We used to stay in this Haven holiday camp in France, and they had our arcade room there, and they had Metal Slug when I first went there. So that's the first time I played it. It just...
Did you play it with Franks?
Yeah.
Nice. That's proper retro. That's retro currency as well as a retro game.
How many francs? 2, 3? I've never seen more than 3 in the same place.
Well, it's 10 francs to a pound, or it was.
Yeah.
So yes, you have.
Have I?
I think so.
10 francs. And they were all playing with you.
I knew that was coming. I was waiting for that one.
I did not get that.
He's here all week.
He's not, but... Yeah, first played it in France on an arcade, absolutely loved it. It's just amazing in every way. I can't find a fault.
Well, Anthony, I have a feeling... No, go on, no.
Well, okay.
Everyone else talk about it first.
Did you two meet up again and play it?
Yes, we did.
What did you think? James, you ever played the game before?
No, I hadn't actually. And it's a game that kind of has quite I'm not sure if it's a cult following, but it's sort of... It's there. You always hear about Metal Slug, like people discuss it, and so I kind of had preconceptions going in, but I didn't really fully realize what the gameplay would actually consist of. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was engaging. I thought it was just visually very appealing to me. The animations were all really detailed. They had a lot of frames.
Just before you go on, what version did you two play?
Just Metal Slug 1.
On the, what was it, PlayStation?
Oh no,
it
was arcade emulated.
So yeah, like MAME, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Go on, James, go on.
And it just it flowed very well. I thought the combat was fast enough to be very exciting and sort of just it didn't sort of let you relax, but at the same time it wasn't overwhelming like a lot of sort of Japanese bullet hell shooters can be. And I mean it's sort of one of those typical Generation Y Is it Generation Y? I don't know. You know the 2D generation games where it lasts for like an hour and a half, but obviously, as Anthony and I discussed, it relies on extreme difficulty for replay value. And while that's obviously not ideal, I think that overall it's just, I mean, compared to its peers, it was just a very high quality product.
Would you not say that that's just the fundamental design of arcade games to make them difficult to swallow your money?
But Nintendo did it as well with their home console games.
Yeah, that's true. I always kind of felt that was because it was a bit of a throw. It was kind of, they hadn't matured yet and realised what home consoles should be other than arcade.
Trying to be that makes sense.
They were trying to replicate arcade in the living rooms, I guess. I mean, don't forget, this came out in about 96. Yeah, it came out on the Neo Geo.
It was a good year.
No, I think it came out. Sorry, actually, let me just quickly check that because it came out on the arcade in 96.
You were 3 in 96. I was 11.
I think it was released on the console at the same time.
Oh yeah, it came out Neo Geo and arcade in May 24th, 1996. Then the Saturn a year later, then the PlayStation another few months later in 2007. PlayStation Network in 2007. Even weirder, came out on Windows December 4th, 2010. Must have been like a collection or something. And it's also been on a virtual console. But, I'll go next quickly. I absolutely, I really like the game. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think it's great animation, gorgeous game, has aged really well. The only really downfall I have, but again, as I always say every show, this is because of me as a player, is that I think it is fundamentally it's an arcade game, and I don't particularly enjoy anymore the notion of just playing to try and beat it, get as far as you can, because I always think it always comes back to the fact that you have to have that element of spending money, or unless you say to yourself, right, I'm only allowed 5 lives and I've got to get as far as I can, that you have to do that. Whereas I was playing on a MAME emulator, I could just keep pressing a button to put coins in. So obviously it makes it pointless to play, which is a stupid thing for me to say. But because of that, the design of the game is focused around that, which means I would never really often go back and play it. I couldn't play it for more than an hour or so. Like I could keep playing it because it's more of a blast of 20 minutes of happy fun, and then I would leave it. Yeah, which is fun. But yeah, I think it's a very good game. I think it's got some real bad design flaws in it. I can't believe there are sections where it expects you to try shoot downwards because you have to jump in the air and then move the trigger down to shoot, which is really annoying. It's tricky to do.
I love that. I guess it's ingrained because I'm used to it from forever ago. But I didn't find that difficult. Plus, there aren't that many sections that do that.
Yeah, no, I actually quite like that mechanic as well because it sort of adds a whole sort of horizontal momentum angle to it.
Okay, no, fair enough. I found it more frustrating, to be honest. But yeah. But I was going to talk about my experience of the arcade when I used to play it, though, because I did used to go into it. I'll talk about it in a bit. But before we do that, Lysanne, your turn. What do you think of it? Oh, dear. Oh, God.
So, graphically, I thought the game was lovely. It was exceptionally well done, especially for the time, and it holds up really well. It looked lovely, the way the characters moved and interacted, and the explosions and everything, that was really, really good. The different gunshots, like when you got the different guns, I liked getting the flamethrower and burning people. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That was really good. But I absolutely detest run and guns, and that's what it is. But I liked it more than Gunstar Heroes. But I hated it overall. I played it for, 5 minutes of my own accord and then 10 minutes more under duress.
Yes.
So I played it for 15 minutes in total.
Why did you like it more than Gunstar?
Because graphically it was good. Okay. And you weren't just walking along and then 20 things attack. It was better paced, as it were. And there was a slight puzzle element to it. There was a slight puzzle element to it, which was slightly interesting, but not very.
If there's one thing I think Metal Slug did, not the fact it was just graphically really good, like the actual drawings and animation was fantastic. What I was really surprised playing it again was how many unique elements there were going through the levels. Like there'd be times where you'd see a guy do something, and it will only be that one time he does it. For example, there's a bit where there's guys rolling big balls of snow down a hill, or there'll be a guy who's in a toilet who goes, when he sees you and sinks into the toilet. And these guys never appear again. They only appear once. And these little animation elements that they made that effort to put in. Like there's a bit where there's a chef, and if you blow up his kitchen, he runs out with his hat pulled over his head and runs around for a bit and then runs off. And it's that stuff that I was like, they went to real effort to add those little details in that makes it a really... And even the actual... the games after the Metal Slug 1 went a bit crazy. They all went to like zombies and Mars and stuff like that. But I really liked the Metal Slug 1 because it was actually very, in a strange way, realistic. And that sounds
It was
strange.
supposed to be. Neil said it was set in World War II.
It's meant to be one or two, I think two. But the settings are like a French.
Because there's homages to the swastika in the background.
It's set in Italy, I think.
Yeah,
And it's quite nice. Like they got that real sort of like it's not a very, in a weird way, colourful game. It's all quite brown and grey, and there's a snow level, but they're just really pretty. They're really well done.
They are.
totally agree with
Visually, it is a stunning game.
I was trying to think of a game that did pixel art better than Metal Slug, in my opinion, and I couldn't think of one.
Jamestown.
Some of
Jamestown.
some of the King of Fighters games as well.
No, they are stunning technically because they did really high resolution pixel art, but I don't think the animation's better. This chunky style is just it's like
It still felt like a proper pixelated retro game, but it just looked beautiful.
it's really eye-catching for me, whereas King of Fighters just seems like they're using pixel art even just for retro feel. And
They had is what made the Neo Geo console so expensive was at the time. I mean, the graphics were just blowing people away. It was incredible. The cartridge. I don't know if you've ever seen a Neo Geo game cartridge. It's massive. Like it's
just the arcade board, right?
It's about 4 times the size of a SNES cartridge, and it has 193 megabits on it, which compared to say like GoldenEye was only 8 megabits. This game was 193, so they just filled them with as much artwork as they could.
well, I'm pretty sure the Neo Geo console was just the arcade board in a home console.
Pretty much, yeah. I was trying to look up size comparisons for a Neo Geo because I've never actually seen a Neo Geo. I don't know how big it is, but I imagine it's about twice the size for SNES.
I think it's quite small.
Oh, really?
I know that you can get like replicas now that you plug the game board into, and the actual console itself isn't that big because back then all the arcade stuff was just on the arcade board, the game board. And there wasn't much for the arcade machine itself to do because they just included processors and stuff right there on the. But that's for arcade nerds and things.
So you picked this game, Andy. What points did you kind of? I see you've got a few points written down.
Yeah.
Is there anything that surprised you going back and playing it?
Surprised me. I've played it so many times. Nothing surprises me.
Okay.
How often do you play it?
I used to play it so much in school because we'd put it on the school computers and play it in our tutor room.
Okay.
And I just got all these people would come over and be like, "What's this? I'm like, Metal Slug?" And
What's this nerd doing?
playing 2-player Metal Slug for half an hour. One of the things I was talking to James about is not only is the game fun to play for me, but it's the fun atmosphere that keeps you hooked also. Because even though it's... Honestly, some of the stuff in the game, especially because they had a version with censored blood, it's just white blood, but you can also get... In the arcade version, you can turn off that and get red blood. And some of the animations for the enemies dying and stuff is quite brutal.
Yeah,
I wrote down that the knife attack, because it was quite rare, because most games like most games with side-scrolling shmups or whatever, shoot-em-ups and running guns, when an enemy touches you is normally when you die, and Metal Slug was quite rare because when an enemy gets near you can knife them, or they can knife you, which was...
No, but that still kills you. That was the annoying thing, is that you die really easily.
If you touch them, unless it's a tank, you don't die, where most other run and guns, you touch someone, that's how you die, like Contra, for example.
Yeah.
So I thought it was going, but I was just going to say, actually, the knife attack, looking back at it now, it's really violent. Like, you almost see kind of the guy kind of rip open a bit when he knifes someone.
Yeah, there's an animation where I think you shoot someone with a rocket launcher, their head flies off, and blood pours out of their neck hole. And that sort of thing's quite serious for an arcade game. I mean, I guess they were going for an adult theme here, but it's also got a really fun atmosphere in that you'll see like a monkey just sitting there looking at a fish, and you can collect both of them for points.
These weird frogs have started appearing.
And the guy in the toilet with the hat. So it's both fun and kind of horrific.
You've got like the captured prisoners who are like all got beards, and then when you capture them, they just kind of jog around on the spot.
And then they hold up, and then they hold up a curtain, and then they go, "Hey!" And then there's a power up there.
Wait, is it a curtain? I thought it was their underwear.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a...
No, because all they wear is that little black...
because they pull it out of their shorts.
All they wear is the little brown pants.
Yeah, they pull it out of their shorts.
When they scream when they see a bad guy, they go, "Ah!" and they run off. They put their hands in the air and they like wave around like that.
What was weird though is that they were all clones. They all looked identical, didn't they?
Yeah.
All the prisoners.
Well, because
my favourite part was the pig in the balcony.
Pig in the balcony.
I forgot about the pig in the balcony.
Pig in the balcony.
Wait, is that a euphemism?
I can't believe you forgot about the pig in the balcony.
Pig in the balcony.
I liked my favourite part was there's a boss who is like the classic archetypal bad guy in every 80s flick, where he's like in the snow level, topless, big muscles going.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then he had that rope as well that he whipped you with if you got too close.
I can't remember what he says, but he's like, "Come here, girl," or something like that, and he's like, it's just so silly. Then when he dies, he goes, "Oh damn you!" puts his head down. It's so stupid.
See you in hell. And
see you in hell.
He comes back every game. I'm not sure about the later ones.
Oh really?
But yeah, he reappears, even though he looks like he's definitely dead. He reappears in each game. And he's basically immortal. That's like a running joke.
story, because there's been 7 Metal Slug games, and the story behind them is actually surprisingly quite deep. Like, it's all about... In fact, I've got...
Is any of it communicated in the actual games?
Not really, but there's been a lot of fan fiction about it. I mean, there's a cult classic, but there has been a hell of a lot of fan fiction.
There's quite a lot of historical texts about World War II.
Yeah, so it was.
They made loads of documentaries about it as well, haven't they?
Hitler and Poland, apparently. No, the evil General Morden and his rebel army have launched a coup d'etat. Is that right? What's it?
Coup d'etat.
On the world's governments, and all attempts by the regular army to stop him growing power fail. His most recent attack has given him access to a new form of all-terrain combat tank dubbed Metal Slug.
You really sounded like Brecky then.
I only worked out that Metal Slug was referenced to a tank when I played it recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought Metal Slug was like the main character because he's like metal and he walks really slowly or something.
Slug.
Then I went, tank, yeah, okay.
Jack.
What do you think about the tank in this game?
The tank.
The tank you drive in the game.
The Metal
jump,
Slug.
which always made me laugh. Don't know why I watched the tank jump and giggle.
You can make the tank jump.
Yeah, it'll go bloop, jump in the air.
Man.
Yeah, its tracks like bounce downwards like
it's
their
so
feet.
feet. And then it could duck so you can throw grenades out the top as well.
I think it's honestly more fun to not use the tank, but I still use it every time anyway because it's like a free life.
It's an extra life, yeah.
Plus, you can do if you press both jump and shoot, it does a
Backflip.
what's that called? Where
Self-destruct.
Self-destructing, where it flies forward and blows up. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't do that.
yeah. So that's like a final ditch.
That's
yeah.
why I should never skip the how to play bit at the start, where it shows up like, yeah, I don't know how to play. Just skip it.
I skip it because I already know how to play. But yeah, you shouldn't skip it because you don't know.
Another thing that was quite graphic, I was going to say, is actually when you set people on fire, the screams that come out.
Yeah, that was
I know,
good.
It's like, they always go, ah! And it's like, oh,
Still not entertaining enough to make me play it for that long, though.
What I found kind of funny when I was considering it this time around, I thought it quite ridiculous that these 2 men are basically tearing their way through an entire army just themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, it's an entire army they've been trained to fight. But these 2 guys, one turns to the other and goes, hey, mate, do you want to just run at them and shoot our guns a bit? And the other one's like, yeah, right. And it works, right? They just kill everyone and win the whole thing.
Yeah.
That shouldn't work. So it's kind of ridiculous when you consider those 2 guys.
That's because they've got infinite lives.
Yeah, but
Well, no, like your money pumping in gives them life,
yeah.
but yeah.
But if you consider these guys
friends.
aren't even running to the left and right, they're just running straight forward in a line, and everything happens to be in the right place, and they're just shooting everything. I think the enemy army might be quite idiotic if they just came at them from the sides.
I know, if only the real World War II Nazis were like that, it would have been a lot easier if they just all went in a line.
Yeah, if only Hitler had lost.
Hang on, wait. The wars were fought in lines. What do you think the trenches were?
Yeah, but they were horizontal lines.
They wanted vertical lines.
If they all got in
file.
a queue and just kept walking, that'd be fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
they did try that into Russia and it failed, though. Oh, it's a bit of knowledge for you.
Aside from a couple of tanks coming from...
Oh,
Because you knew some history.
Hitler better not be listening.
No, it's because you knew some history.
Oh no, I thought you were referencing the fact that they made all the Russian soldiers like march into the line of fire.
Oh no, I
and
just
die.
always because Hitler couldn't get into Russia. And no matter how much they marched into Russia, they couldn't get in because it was snow and stuff. They
All right, you were doing a different.
I was just being the really basic version.
Aside from a few tanks in the background on one of the levels...
sorry, Anthony. Carry on.
Anthony was at a bit of a point.
Tanks in the background. Go on.
Aside from a few tanks in the background on one of the levels, you realise that this entire army is basically attacking in single file, which is really bad strategy.
Some of them come from behind.
Do you mean behind from our perspective, or
As in
behind from
the character?
Yeah, that's still single file though.
Oh yeah, I guess so. But at least they're coming from 2 sides.
They're just like running. They're just running behind them and still going single file.
Well, it's like Mario. The mushrooms never came from behind.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Nah, that one didn't work.
I'm not trying to make anything work. I'm telling the truth. It's your filthy mind that is going all over the place.
What can I say?
Oh, go on, Anthony. Sorry. That's
no,
the point.
I finished that point.
Go on, Zan.
Okay. One thing that Neil found particularly irritating, because he played it for longer than I did, and I watched him. The snow level where you're jumping upwards. What was very irritating was that if you got knocked down and you fell, and you hit the bottom of the screen, then you died, as opposed to falling down lower in the game, which obviously is a mechanic to make you die so that you will keep pumping money into the machine.
Yeah.
But very, very frustrating, I could imagine, if you were a child playing this in an arcade in France.
I agree with that.
I pointed that out to James, that strange thing about that, with all the attention to detail they put into animations,
Screen couldn't go back.
If you hit the bottom of the screen, it does a death animation at the bottom of the screen.
Like he's floating in midair.
Yeah, he doesn't fall past it and then you hear the death sound. He dies right there in midair because he's hit the bottom.
I imagine there was probably some sort of technical limitation to that.
Maybe.
They literally couldn't have him go off screen. He had to always be on
Well,
screen.
no, that's fine. But why couldn't the screen go back?
Oh no, I get you. I'm just saying
That's what should have happened.
I imagine that's why that happened.
Like in Donkey Kong Country, if you fall and you die, it's a level that's been going upwards, vertical level, and you get knocked off and you fall. You actually fall down through the level back to where it was.
Oh no, yeah.
So technology was there. They could have done it.
Well, I mean,
They
because obviously they're trying to get you to pump as many quarters in as you can. I think they probably employ a lot of the same philosophies that casinos do, where they have to give you the illusion of sort of a fair chance, but they also have to just completely screw you out of all your money.
That's true.
But if you think about it, in like a lot of Mario levels, for example, you can't go left.
Yeah.
Once you progress to a certain point, you have to keep going.
It depends which game you're playing.
Yeah,
In
so
Super Mario World was the first one where you could go left.
Yeah, so in some of them,
First three you couldn't.
go back. So this is just that vertical. And the fact is that the bottom actually kills you rather than... Because you couldn't really stop at the bottom.
Oh, that's the point. Super Mario World,
just
you
stand
couldn't.
there.
Super Mario World, even with vertical levels, if you fell down, you still died.
Maybe
But you could still go left.
So this is just doing the same thing as Super Mario World, which we all know is the best game ever.
Exactly.
I was going to talk about my experience of when I actually managed to get a real good opportunity to play this in an arcade, because I used to play it when I was younger, down at the seaside in Wales, and it was there, and I was like, oh, I want to play it. And it was like a stand-up cabinet. But
Wait, were you a girl when you were younger?
when I was a little girl. But I went when I went to university about a long time ago now. But modern games were out. Outrun 2 was out, and I was at Portsmouth University, and there was a place down there called Clarence Pier, which is rubbish. It compares nothing to Bryant Pier. It's this tiny little building with a guy sitting behind a booth going, "What's the quarters?" But what was amazing was they had a deal with Sega to get all the latest arcades in there, but the guys never got rid of them. So I remember going in there with some friends, and they're all off playing crane games, and I was going mental because I managed to research. I found a forum from 2007, a bunch of guys talking about what was in there, and it had House of Dead 1 and 2, and this is back in about 2005. Had House of Dead 1 and 2, Crazy Taxi, Outrun 2, Sega Rally 2, Daytona USA 4-player. Each one was only 50p, which is like now like £2. But anyway, in the corner, they had this beast called the Megalo 50, right? This thing weighed 378 kilograms or 60 stone. Wow. In the corner, and it was a 50-inch CRT screen, and it had Metal Slug on it, and it was only 20p a go. And this was in about 2005, so I went mental. My mate's like, "Why are you sitting down playing this old game?" And I played it. You can still buy it for $1,000 US, and I don't know if it's down in Portsmouth still, but I'd love to go find it. It was ridiculous, hidden in a corner, covered in dust, and I sat there for about an hour playing Metal Slug.
So you say Portsmouth?
Portsmouth, as in down on the south coast in the UK.
But that's quite close to here.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Couple of
road
hours
trip to play that Megalo 50.
This was back in about 2005.
Well, phone them up.
I was tempted to. I'd love to know because they still have it was rubbish. There'd be like a banner that said Sega World. It was all knackered. But you'd go in and I remember going in there and they had Outrun 2, but not just Outrun 2. They had this whole Ferrari sitting there. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Outrun 2 Ferrari.
A Ferrari in an arcade?
Not like, you know what I mean, on the back end of it. And it had like 4-player Daytona USA, which I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And it's just this grotty little house, like building in Portsmouth. And I was like, this is amazing. And when I found that in the corner, my head nearly exploded.
We should take a road trip. I'll do that.
But imagine buying that at £833 for America. So you wouldn't be able to, we're on like the 3rd or 4th floor here. You wouldn't be able to put it in here. It would go through the floor. Second floor. It would go through the floor. You'd kill the people below us. At least they'd go like, I died doing what I loved. But so I was really lucky to go. If anyone's in Portsmouth, pop down there and let us know if it's still there. I'd be amazed if it is. It's probably been replaced by I don't know, House of Dead 7.
Dance Revolution.
But yeah. But Anthony, do you have any other points you'd like to raise?
Yes, I do.
Go on.
One of the things I was saying to James is that it's quite strange. This game has a lot of things that are hidden that you have to search for to find. Like you can shoot places off screen and a POW will fall down.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of hidden stuff. It also has 2 alternate endings. Well, one ending and one alternate ending. So the fact that this game has those replayability factors that you wouldn't really know about unless you researched them is quite strange for an arcade game, I think.
Do you think they were just hoping that you'd be shooting crazily all over the screen and would hit them? Or, I mean, and when you say you hit POWs off screen, was that just because they hadn't yet come on screen?
No, there's hidden little places you can shoot where things will be released and they're like a treasure Easter egg or something. But I just thought it was strange that they had that stuff in an arcade game when you're not really doing that sort of thing in an arcade game. It's just simple
Or they were just assuming that people would play it that much, that they would know it that well.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't...
Or they were hoping that when they were designing it.
Yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't like know that stuff was there and want to play it again. You'd be like, I finished that now, that's it, I've seen everything. So it's kind of strange they put in that.
Or maybe they were kind of half building it for
the console as well?
home console market as well.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Maybe, yeah.
When was it released on home console?
Same time, 96.
Yeah.
Was it at the same time? Well, that would be why.
that's-
That would be why they included it then.
I did consider that afterwards, that since they were making it, but I figured maybe they were just...
I wonder if they did that just so when people replayed it a hell of a lot, they were rewarding them for stumbling upon this stuff, and they'd go, oh, okay. And then when they got to that point level, they go, I know that's there. And that's why people are watching them going, wow, they're really good at this game, but they've just, through sheer playing it, they learned these little
Strikes
bits.
me as just fan service that a good company decided to put into their product.
How was it in co-op with you two playing?
It's fun, I mean...
It was good.
Do they...
Did you
Does
throw
it
each other
get-
around?
No, there's no alternate
toss-ons.
mechanics.
Does it get easier? I mean, do they have less enemies on screen when there's two people?
I think there's either the same or more enemies. I haven't compared.
Yeah, I think it's the same amount of enemies. I don't think it gets more.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, that's...
I don't know. That's my guess.
No, so I think it's just more fun because you're both sitting there enjoying it, but there's no...
Did it have the character select?
No.
No, it was just two, because I think number 2 brings in when you can pick between 4 people.
Yeah, there are
I don't
4.
think there's any difference between them. I know when it got to 6, they put difference between the characters. Maybe a lot earlier than that, but I don't know.
I think the only difference in the second one is animation-wise.
Is your first the favourite? Is the first one your favourite, Anthony?
I think it's a better package overall because it's just fun all the way through. It's very simple.
A lot of people-
Pure run and gun.
A lot of people love 2, 3, and X because they go crazier and stuff like that, and there's like crab monsters and things like that.
You get aliens and zombies.
But then for 4 and 5, they tried to go back to number 1 and make it original. And I'm sure there's Metal Gear fans who are listening, Metal Slug fans listening, going, no, that's not true. But apparently then for 6, they went back to crazy because the fans liked the crazy more, which is weird because I like the Nazis more.
This game is a lot simpler. No, this game is a lot simpler, and I appreciate that. But the other games are fun as well. I mean, I'm not going to...
Is this... Okay, so it's aimed at Anthony, I guess. But what games are crazier than this?
Gunstar Heroes.
There are many games that are crazier than this. What do you...
Well, okay, well,
Some of the mini games in Mario
we're saying
Party are
that this is a
crazier.
game that blasts, and Metal Slug is a famous game for being very crazy on screen, loads going on.
This does...
What would you think is the craziest game after this?
This does bring me up onto my next point,
Oh, go
is
on,
that just like Gunstar Heroes, and Gunstar Heroes were made by Treasure, who make shoot-'em-ups, the people who made this game also made shoot-'em-ups as well. And this has that same shoot-'em-up mentality where if you get hit once, you die. There's a lot of things to keep track of. Bullets move slowly. So I think it's that level of crazy. I think most of the games you find that are crazier will be shoot-'em-ups because there's just bullets all over.
I was going to vote for Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, that is a crazy one,
That's
actually.
mental. It's not even...
There was 2 that I researched, and one of them was brilliant. You ever played Muscle March on the Wii?
No. Sounds good.
Muscle March is a game that was released in 2010, and it's basically all these guys in Speedos who are all incredibly muscly, and it's a very camp game. And they're marching through buildings, but what you've got to do all in a line, and they strike a pose, and when they strike the pose, you've got to match them, and if you do it right, they smash through the wall and carry on going, and you've got to see how many times you do it, and it's a very camp game. But the other one that people... I think it was Treasure.
Do you own that game, Jack?
I do own that game. It's fantastic. But did you ever play, and this is the only game I was thinking that's kind of a shoot 'em up, and it is a kind of side-scrolling that I thought was crazy, is Mischief Makers. Did you ever play that on the N64?
That was a Treasure. I think we looked at a video
That
of
was
that.
a Treasure.
Oh, is that is it like
That
very
is
colourful? Does it have a rabbit
Very
in it?
colourful. It's a little Japanese girl, and she can grab onto these circles that have face on them. She can shake them, and they go "Wah, wah, 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 wah," when you shake them. And
Is that the one with like the
mental
play theme? Like it's theatre?
There might be not really. I think no. I don't.
No,
think
we
it
watched
is.
videos of loads of different Treasure games when we were doing Gunstar.
Yeah,
to see
I
what
was
they were
going to say
like.
Mischief Makes the only one. And actually, if you guys haven't played it, we'll have to pick that one week because that's a really fun game.
No,
You-
I think
you
we
would love it, Anthony.
definitely watched a video of it.
But another quick one to talk about was the Neo Geo X is coming out. You heard about this?
That's the handheld, right?
That's the handheld,
unofficial,
yeah.
but
The-
officially sanctioned or whatever.
Yeah, the Neo Geo X retro game console launched in Europe on the 6th of December, so next week. It's a preloaded console. It's got 20 games, including Metal Slug, things like Fatal Fury and Fatal Fury Special and stuff like that. And it basically replicates in a handheld on a 4.3-inch LCD screen a Neo Geo. Great, right? How much do you reckon that's going for? Considering it's...
Are we talking dollars or pounds?
Pounds.
Pounds,
And considering this exists already on mobile phones, basically. you could-
150.
Don't tell him. We'll all put in a bid and we'll see who gets the closest. Make it more fun. I'm going to say £80.
Okay.
I already knew and I've forgotten, so I don't want to guess.
Well, they're selling it for 175, and
What?
that's a little picture of it. If you guys want to have
How
a look
much
at
is
it.
a Wii U?
A Wii U's $299, and when you think of Xbox 360 now, you can get one for like 120. But this is because obviously SNK went bankrupt. I think they're back up and running again. But you think why? But then 175 for what essentially is basically a console that already really kind of exists in other forms.
They're never going to sell these.
I know
It's purely for like fanatics.
Yeah, but they can't make like a profit off of just fanatics, right?
Well, I think Neo Geos, even unboxed second hand, still go for like 200 quid. Very hard to get one of them. If they're boxed, it's like 600.
I know if you buy original arcade boards, there's a huge market for that, and they can get really expensive.
But that Neo Geo X, there are loads of little, okay, they're kind of knockoffs, but they're basically devices that are made so you could pop in a memory card and play all your emulators on them. I mean, there's so many of them, just like little handhelds.
Like the GP32.
Yeah, they're all over like eBay and like Lysanne or whatever those websites are called. But like, yeah, so when I saw that and it's preloaded with games like the 20 games and that's it, I was like, oh, because I nearly famously bought the Neo Geo Pocket. I remember seeing the adverts for it and I went, oh my god, that's the most beautiful.
They made 2 Metal Slug games for that as well.
Yeah, they weren't
first
very
and
good.
second mission.
They weren't very good at all. But I nearly bought that over a Game Boy Advance. And I was like,
Oh my
God,
God.
I didn't buy that. Bloody hell, that was only out for about 6 months.
From the sounds of the spec, you can also plug this into your telly and play it on TV.
I guess that's
So
something.
it's a console with a screen, and it also says it's got HDMI composite cables, so with output. So I'm assuming that means you can also plug it into your telly, which probably gives it a bit more value. But 175
Yeah,
quid.
but still, I mean,
That's a lot.
way too specific.
Yeah, I think meant to 475. But
Definitely.
They probably can't sell it for that much less if they're making them in short supply.
What else did you have to say about this game, Anthony?
Not much.
Sorry, I keep going to Anthony because I know
Anthony
it's
has
his
spoken
game.
enough. There's actually a concept I wanted to talk about.
Go on, then.
I don't really have a very set point to make about it. I just thought it was interesting to note that the way the game is operating, it relies very heavily on a good balance between risk and reward. So, I mean, it has to sort of reward you for putting in the money into the arcade machine by allowing you to progress. But it also has to make sure that you fail at a certain amount of points so that not only are you motivated to keep playing because, oh, here's the challenge, but you're motivated to put in money. And I think that kind of, it relates to a game I used to play called World of Warcraft. Where obviously they want to keep you subscribed because, hey, I mean, money for Blizzard. But they also want to make sure that it's not too difficult to sort of keep you from just quitting. So recently they've... why are you...
Put my hand up.
He's raising his hand. He wants to make a point after you.
Yeah.
So
carry on,
I think
James.
like obviously people are criticizing the game now. I mean, I haven't played for like a good 6 years or whatever, but people are criticizing the game now because obviously it's very easy and everything's handed to the player, and that kind of
You talk about World of Warcraft now?
yeah, World of Warcraft,
okay.
and everything that once made it sort of compelling has apparently been destroyed. And I think that it's just worth pointing out that this game gets a very good sort of mix of the two.
What do you mean it's got quite a good system of... It's like a variable reward system of like, if you put in 50p, it will let you get a certain amount of the way. You don't just put in 50p and you'll die straight away sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, no, yeah, I agree with that.
I would argue that part of the reward it gives you just by putting the money in is all the crazy stuff happening on screen is fun to watch. But obviously, you know me, and that I love explosions and guns. So maybe that's just me. But I think part of the reward is getting a certain distance to the level. Part of it is just watching all the crazy stuff.
But then again, you can watch a YouTube video of someone playing it and bypass.
You can, but not when it was released.
You could watch surely there were like highlight reels before you put in money that would like show you.
Yeah,
parts of
but
the game.
they were like 20 seconds long, and you.
When I was a kid and I ran out of money, I used to just watch those and pretend I was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watched YouTube when you were a kid?
No, I used to sit in the arcade and just look at the screen, and when like the game came up and it would show a demo of someone playing, I go, yeah, me playing that is. Oh, I died.
Can I just say that since James was making a fancy pants intellectual statement, I wanted him to use the word pastiche, but he didn't get around to it.
Well, there was no pastiche didn't relate.
Oh, okay.
I've completely forgotten what the music sounded like in this game.
It was pretty good.
Got to sing more, Anthony.
I can't sing, but
Doesn't matter, just do it anyway.
It's good.
I can't remember what the-
I can't
it added to
remember.
the kind of gritty, aggressive style of the game. Very dramatic, right?
Very right.
It really didn't stick in. That's maybe because I was sitting there hating it, so I didn't absorb the
I
music.
thought it was.
I can't remember the music at all.
Did you actually enjoy more The one thing about the Metal Slug that I always found interesting, which was different from Gunstar Heroes, for example, is that Metal Slug is more a reaction to how the enemies are attacking you, whereas I found that Gunstar Heroes was more learning the pattern of how a boss attacked you or an enemy attacked you. Metal Slug had a little bit of that, but when enemies were on the screen, it was never like a pattern of how they would attack. Okay, they'd throw a grenade, but it was more you having to respond. Like when they fired a bullet at you, it went very slow in Metal Slug. Like it would take ages to get to you. So it wasn't like you were like, oh, here comes that guy, I've got to duck, wait a second, get up and shoot him, duck, wait a second, get up and shoot him. It was more like you were responding to what was going on. There was so much craziness going on. Do you prefer that style, where it's more about reaction timing, or do you prefer Gunstar, where it's more I have to learn the pattern of how things are going to attack me?
Well, that's why I was saying it's got the shoot 'em up mentality, because you have to watch everything on screen to not die. And I probably prefer the way Gunstar does it, except that whenever I play Metal Slug, because I'm using that emulator, I can just carry on whenever I die. There's no real risk, like loss aversion there.
Like a Super Meat Boy.
Because I just put 30 credits in.
But then what's your motive to even avoid the bullets if you can just continue?
All the crazy stuff happening on screen, that's what I was saying the reward is.
That'll still happen if you just sort of mong your way through and keep getting killed.
Oh, you don't want to get killed, because that's like, that keeps on interrupting the flow. So you still want to avoid stuff if you can, but if you die, it's not a big deal.
Apart from you lose your weapons and your upgrades.
Yeah,
then you're just back to the rubbishy little pistols. So that's one way that you still need to try and avoid dying, but then it doesn't take long to get an upgrade again.
But by that logic, if you were playing it in an arcade with money, would you not enjoy the game?
I think I'd enjoy it less. Obviously,
I'd enjoy it more, I think, personally. But yeah, sorry, go on.
If you had to pay for it each time you played.
Well, yeah, because there's more consequence.
Well,
it's the gambling factor.
That's because
It's
Jack's
the high
like
he gets off it.
Obviously, Jack's a gambling addict or something. I can't.
But like, it's I was about to make a really stupid point. I'd say when I put 2p in those slot machines, I'm not doing it to win money. I'm just doing it to experience it. No, that's a stupid thing.
No, I think there is definitely an aspect of that too. I mean, like when you go to casinos with a very small amount of money, you're not really in it to sort of become rich. You're in it to sort of you're in it to gamble.
Enjoy the game.
You want the adreneline
to try
that
play
you
as long as you can.
Risk.
Yeah, if you go in there thinking I'm going to win this, you're never going to come out with any money.
Exactly.
If you just go in there, but if you just want to have to play it, and that's kind of how I see a Metal Slug. But I think that element of I can't enjoy a game unless there's an element of risk involved.
Risk. Okay.
Yeah. Like,
do you enjoy playing Risk?
Huh?
Do you enjoy playing Risk? The board
Risk
game
is awesome. I love Risk, man.
Okay,
In the title, I think there was loads of Risk in it.
Rounding down to near the end of the show, did anyone else want to say anything about Metal Slug? Lysanne, you haven't really said much. I feel a bit bad.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, come on, Lysanne.
I didn't like it. I'm not gonna sit here and slag off Anthony's game.
I liked the things that Lysanne did say, because she treated it very fairly.
Yeah, you've been fair this week. You haven't been.
And I think it's because you had to play.
That's because it's your game next week.
No, it's because I don't slag off your personal choices, unlike you do to me.
I think it's because you were forced to play it for 10 more minutes than you wanted to.
Yeah.
Transport Tycoon. Oh, sorry, my throat. Oh, it tickled my throat there. Sorry.
That was James and I.
It almost sounded like Transport Tycoon. That's what I said.
Do you want a Lemsip, Jack?
No, I need a bit of Transport Tycoon. That's what I need. I can't think of I had anything else to say about the game.
Is there any trivia?
So, well, no, I couldn't really find anything, to be honest. It's, again, I don't know if it's, I wouldn't say it's a cult. Well, do you think it's a cult classic?
I think it's a cult classic.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know about it in general terms, but I think anyone who does know about Run and Guns loves Metal Slug.
This is a little bit off topic, but I mean, what is the definition of a cult classic? In video game
a game that has a very rabid following but didn't achieve commercial success.
Yeah. That's the definition of a cult classic in film as well.
But
and books.
Well, I would say widespread commercial success, because a game can still be financially successful without everyone knowing about it.
Yeah.
So it's not like a blockbuster, but
that's all right. I mean,
it's like Shawshank Redemption is the ultimate cult classic. It did appallingly in the cinemas because no one wanted to watch a 3-hour prison movie.
Is it 3 hours long?
Something like that, just shy.
No, Shawshank's one of those great films when you watch it, you realise it's really long, but you enjoy it so much.
Exactly, but it flopped horribly in the cinemas. Yeah. But then when it came out on rental, like it grew and grew and grew, and it's now got a really big cult following.
For some reason, I thought cult following would be more about a small group of people who really love it, but they love it so much they're really obsessive about it, and that would make it a cult classic.
There is an aspect of that to it as well.
Okay, but by that logic, but I didn't realise it could be a huge amount of people, like worldwide now. Shawshank.
Oh, it tops every best movie ever list,
and it's not like
but it completely flopped.
There's also an element to it not being very well known, I would have thought, for a cult classic.
Well, when it came out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. But no, I haven't really got...
Classic, yes.
I haven't really got any trivia.
Well, in a cult classic, the fans also have to all get together at the end and drink the Kool-Aid together.
It's my favourite part.
And then fly off in their spaceship.
I like the grape.
Classic.
To be honest, there probably is a hell of a lot of trivia about SNK because they were a massive.
But apparently, this
thing
was like
in
a
Japan.
sub-team within.
Yeah, and I mean, of the games that are on, I mean, I've played a fair few Neo Geo games, but I think Metal Slug is always, when I think of SNK, I always think of Metal Slug. It's my favourite game that came out of there. It's probably, to be honest, it probably would be one of my favourite Japanese games.
They were a big company
Mario
on
and Zelda, actually, what I'm
2D.
talking about, yeah.
Idiot.
Forget it. It's rubbish.
Forget it, that point was rubbish, never mind.
Nintendo's better.
All right, let's move into the Retrograde part of the show. Anthony, your game, how are we grading this?
Okay, you have to choose, and remember, we're not converting it to numbers at the end, but you have to choose
7.
Okay, James has chosen a 7. You have to choose a weapon of war to represent this game, and you can go anywhere from, like, you know, the first club that a Neanderthal picked up to beat his buddy around the head with, up to, like, nuclear weapons. So go hog wild.
Pretty widespread for just 10 points.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. We're not converting it to numbers.
No, I have to put it in a number first and then think of something equivalent to that number that fits into whatever you're saying.
Okay.
Does anyone else want to go first?
No, you go. I'm
Because
thinking.
I'm trying to think of my... Well, Anthony, have you not got one prepared in your mind?
Yeah, I just thought of one.
Oh, you just thought of it? Oh, okay. Okay.
Obviously, I found this easier than you guys. I'm going to think of this like a bomb. Any kind, really, because there's a lot of explosions in this game, and the explosion animation is particularly awesome, as I pointed out to James.
He did.
And like a bomb, it blows my mind.
That works.
Mine is a Super Soaker filled with cherry coke.
Okay, I like it.
Because it's just pure fun, exciting. Everyone loves getting a bit of cherry coke in their face. But you wouldn't want to take it into a war for a long out battle because it just wouldn't do you very well in the long run.
Yeah, okay, I like it.
I think I'm just going to go for the regular old axe. Ultimately,
with that beard, I can imagine you've got an axe in your bag.
It's difficult. Yeah, with your name on it, Jack. It's difficult. It's difficult to use, but ultimately quite rewarding when you get down to the visceral sort of meatiness of the chopping action.
Plus, axes are very simple.
Yes,
This game's very simple. So
Yeah, we're good in arcades.
That's good. I like it.
I can't think of anything because the problem is.
Well, I really thought someone would say a rocket launcher.
The problem is that I mean, weapons are very cool, but I hated Metal Slug, so I can't attribute a weapon.
Think of a weapon you hate.
Yeah.
Think of a weapon.
I don't know. How can you hate?
No.
Obviously, you can hate weapons.
What
when
about
they're sticking into you.
knives?
Think of a weapon.
Knives are cool.
Yeah, but they're angry.
Think of a weapon
That's right, kids. Knives are cool.
that
heard
you
it here
appreciate from a distance, but you think is a bit useless, personally.
If you,
A rock.
You've got your...
There we go.
Why are you appreciating rocks from a distance? Man, that rock
It
is...
might, it might be a geode. I don't know.
Hey, did you guys see that rock over there?
Pan.
Frying pan? No, because that's got good comedy value.
So
Plus, you can cook
No, it
things
doesn't.
with it.
Metal
It's
Slug
pretty-
is not. If Metal Slug was funny, I'd have played it for longer.
But there's a zombie. There's zombies outside us now. What's the worst weapon you could have been handed?
Flower.
So
flower.
Metal Slug's a flower.
Yeah, a flower's
Oh, the worst
pretty.
weapon. The worst
A
weapon.
flower is pretty.
said
A
worst
rock.
thing, a
The
rock.
worst weapon would be a
Okay.
rock.
A rock would be really good for zombies, though, because you could cave their heads in.
Right, okay, well, I don't know.
And you can
rock
be a
is
pet. You can put little bobbly eyes on
Yeah.
it.
Hang on a second. I like flower because it's pretty, but it's not a very good weapon. And Lysanne thinks this is good
Yeah.
looking, but it doesn't really work very well.
Yes!
Well done, Anthony.
Yes!
Well done, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony. It's a flower.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Good.
I give it Magikarp.
Okay, thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter at Retrograde Show. You can email us whenever at retrograde@psycon.org. That's retrograde@csicon.org. And you can follow us and like us on Facebook. Just search Retrograde. And if you enjoyed the time, please take the time to write. If you enjoyed the show, please take the time to write a review on iTunes, because every reviewer for us on iTunes gets a special limited edition exclusive Retrograde badge. Should have taken a breath when I did all that. And lastly, you can sponsor an episode of Retrograde for a stupidly low price. Just head over to psycon.org/sponsor. We'll be back in 2 weeks with one of the biggest games probably ever made. This is actually, I mean, we joke about it, but this is a Citizen Kane of a game. Link to the Past, chosen by Lysanne for the Super Nintendo. Go on, Lysanne, why?
Because I've owned this game since I was 8 years old and I've never completed it because I find it too difficult.
Are you going to complete it for the episode?
I have 2 weeks to
Okay.
complete it. And
Okay.
I am aiming to turn up here in 2 weeks' time saying, guys, I finally completed Link to the Past.
I've already started playing it because I've actually never completed it as well. I've never properly played it.
Has anyone at this table completed Link to the
What
Past?
bit do you get stuck at, or do you just get bored?
I'm on. We'll save it for the show, but
Okay.
we'll save it for the show. Don't let the listeners get some of the good stuff now. I've got it on my Game Boy Micro. I'm playing the Game Boy Advance version, just so you guys know.
Right,
So,
I have it for my SNES, so when you guys go, I will put it on and start playing it.
and I think, well, actually, we'll maybe discuss about this because maybe we should meet up a little bit before and play a little bit of Four Swords.
That's not really Link to the Past, though. That was added in the Game Boy.
I guess so. Yeah, that's true.
Well, no, it's a similar feel,
Nice.
though.
Yeah, well,
No.
We can compare the two.
No, it's the Sans game.
She's smoking.
We can compare the two.
No,
We need 4 Game Boy Advances, though, didn't we? And a GameCube. Actually, no, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. So if you want to write in and tell us what you think of Zelda: Link's Past, please do. And that's goodbye from me, Jack Marshall. A goodbye from Anthony Hobday.
Goodbye.
Goodbye from Lysanne Fisher.
bye.
And a goodbye from James MacFadyen.
Please follow us. Please.